KO Artist Sports here with 2015 Trainer of the Year, Abel Sanchez. How does it feel, man, to be Trainer of the Year, finally get the recognition for all your hard work?
You know, I've always been recognized. It just this year, the writers chose to recognize me in that manner. I have a great talent that I'm working with right now, but the guys that were nominated with me have great talents too, and they're great talents in their own right. So I'm humbled by their choice, but I'm happy to be in that company.
Is that like a championship type, kind of like a belt for you? Like you got to defend it like next year type of thing, or you just keep doing your work and see what happens?
Well, you know what? It makes us, of course, it motivates us to do the same thing next year. Hopefully, do it again. But it's not always that we get these kind of talents that make us. You know, Virgil has Andre, Freddie has Manny. You know, Robert had Brandon, and some of those other guys, Maidana. So we don't always get these talents that walk through the door that allows us that chance. We're all great trainers, let's just say. We're all great teachers, but we have to have the product. And if we don't have the product, it's impossible for us to showcase ourselves.
Well, you definitely have a great product, obviously, in Triple G, fighting Dominic Wade April 23rd. Obviously, Wade wasn't like the name recognition type of fighter that you guys were looking for, but he is a mandatory. He is. You do get that out of the way for the IBF. But what's your take on as far as criticism that you're getting for taking like a Wade as opposed to trying to fight somebody else?
Well, I think Golovkin's, how can I put it? Golovkin's instructions to us as a team is that he wanted to be the unified champion. He wanted all four belts. All four major belts. In order to do that, that comes with obligations. It comes with mandatories. And as you recall, Tyson Fury beating Vladimir Klitschko, as soon as he didn't want to defend against his mandatory, the IBF stripped him. So now we work real hard to get the IBF belt by beating Lemieux. It'd be stupid for us to say no to our mandatory and have the belt taken away. We just get that much further away from being the unified champion. So sometimes the public has got to understand that this is not only a business, but obligations come with the belts. And you're right, by fighting Dominic Wade, we get this one out of the way. We have a year now to hopefully that's not in the way again. Unfortunately, we tried to get the WBO champion Saunders. We offered him a lot of money, and that would have trumped the mandatory, because any unification fight trumps the mandatory. The mandatory has to wait, but Saunders didn't want to. So we had to do this.
You just mentioned Saunders. You said Gennady wants all the belts, so obviously Canelo's belt and he would be maybe more of a name fight. But as far as if you get Canelo next after this, or if you don't, would Saunders be like the next opponent if you don't get Canelo next?
Well, I think the Saunders has made it a point to say that he needs a couple, 3 fights before he's ready for Golovkin, and that's the same thing that we're doing. If we fight Canelo, we don't fight Canelo in September, that gives us the WBC belt. And then Saunders maybe next year. But yeah, Saunders, of course, is on the radar. He would be our 4th belt if everything goes through in September with Canelo the way it's supposed to go through.
Gennady's 21 knockouts in a row. Hopefully, obviously, this is number 22. But how do you keep him motivated? Power punchers are kind of known to rely on their power and not necessarily, are ready to go the 12 rounds. How do you get him to not just rely on that and be ready for the full 12 rounds?
Well, in the last fight, it was obvious that we weren't going out there to destroy Lemieux. We wanted to practice some of the things, as he did with Stevens too. We wanted to practice some of the things that he does in the gym that I see every day, but that he hasn't been pushed to do. Not that Lemieux pushed him to do it, but without even Lemieux's help, he went out and boxed, kept him at a distance, had a great jab. If you notice the shot that hurt him, it was a long body shot. So it wasn't something that you saw like against Macklin, where he was in close and he threw a body shot like a Mexican does. So all those little things like that are layers that we're trying to uncover so that the public gets more of a view of a full Golovkin. But in order to do that, we have to have the opposition, the quality opposition to be able to do that. Dominic may pose that because he's 18-0. We don't know that much about him. If he does, then we'll uncover another layer, and in the next fight, hopefully another layer.
Gennady is one of the few fighters I've seen that throws his left hook palm down. Is that something you taught him, or?
No, that's something that that's more of a European thing, but I don't like that shot, but he throws it both ways. I'm not going to change him. He's obviously 350 amateur fights with 5 losses. I think he's doing something right. But what we try to do in the gym is we try to add to what he's already got. We're not trying to change him. We're trying to make him better. I have a fear of that shot because there's a lot of chances of not coming through and hurting your thumb. But like I said, 350 amateur fights. I think that he's done something right.
You have another big fight against Andre Ward with your fighter Sullivan Barrera. Tell us about that matchup and how you plan to use Barrera's size kind of against Ward.
I think that we have a lot of pluses going into that fight. That's one of them. The other plus is in the inactivity of Ward, the injuries of Ward, and we have a young man moving up from 168 to 175. It doesn't matter to me that he fought at 178 in the amateurs. He's still a 68-pounder. And you have a guy in Barrera who's coming down, struggling to make 175, but makes it. So you have two different size guys, and I think those are pluses that we may be able to use. I see it as a no-lose fight for us. We're fighting arguably one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound the best fighter in the world. So if it was 6 years ago when he was winning the Super 6, I think we'd have a lesser chance. But I think now, 6 years later, the inactivity, I think we stand a hell of a chance of winning.
You've been watching, obviously, Ward just because you're a boxing fan and everything, but maybe a little more closely being that Golovkin kind of maybe had the opportunity to fight Ward, or they were close there for a little while. Now you're getting the chance with Barrera. Do you take that knowledge, and what kind of knowledge do you have bringing in from that to the Barrera?
No, it's a different fighter. It's a different fighter. It's a different approach because Barrera is not Golovkin and Golovkin's not Barrera. With Golovkin, it would have been a little different, the approach to it. With Barrera, I want to maul him. I want to stay on him. I want to hit him. I want to touch him. I want to use Barrera's size. So it's a different kind of fight. But because we've been watching him, yes, we know what he does and we know how he likes to do it. Now it's just a matter of having a guy to nullify it.
One last question about Gennady. Obviously, Canelo would be the mega fight that everyone wants, but he's talking about this catchweight of 155. What's your take on that? And you guys obviously wanting to fight at 160.
This fight for the middleweight title is 160 pounds. I don't care what Oscar said. I don't care what Canelo said. The WBC has got a letter in place that I have a copy of, says that we're going to fight by the WBC rules. The WBC rules state that the middleweight title is contested at 160 pounds or less. There's no catchweight.
So if they come at you with where you're either fighting at?
There's no catchweight. If they come at us like that, that means they don't want to fight. Yeah?
True. Well, Abel Sanchez, again, congratulations on Trade of the Year, and thank you so much for your time, sir. Really appreciate it.